Hello, class. So today we'll be looking at GPS 29, removing the greatest common factor. Right? So let's just go straight to an example and we'll see how it works. All right, so let's look at 29.2. Okay, so when we try to remove the greatest common factor, right, you're basically looking at the numbers. So we're going to look at 27 and 18, and then you're going to ask yourself, what number can go into 27 and 18? So if you think about it, 9 can go in, right? So then what you do is you factor out, we say you pull out the 9, factor out a 9, and you add these parentheses here. So if I factor out a 9 from 27, what I'm really doing is I'm dividing, okay? So I'm dividing 9 to 27, and then what does that give us? That's going to give us a 3. And there's still a p there, isn't it, right? We didn't touch the p, so still a p there. Plus, and then 9 goes into 18 twice. Okay, and that's how you factor the greatest common factor. Greatest common factor here is 9, and when you factor it out, you get 3p plus 2. Okay, and if you want to check your answer, okay, so let's say you want to check, your answer, then you're going to take 9 times 3p plus 2, and then you just distribute, right? 9 times 3 is 27p, and then 9 times 2 is plus 18. See, you get the same thing, right? Same exact thing from the beginning, right? So if you ever want to check your answer, all you have to do is just distribute back in. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. So same thing on the next one, right? You're looking at numbers. We're looking at 24 and we're looking at 40. So you're asking yourself, what number can go into 24 and 40? Well, if you kind of think about it, it's going to be 8. Okay? 8 can go into both 24 and 40. So 8 goes into 24 how many times? 3 times, and there's still a y, and then minus, and 8 goes into 40 5 times. Okay, or you can think of it as 24 divided by 8 is a positive 3, and then negative 40 divided by 8 is a negative 5. Okay, and if you want to check, you can just distribute back in, and you get the same answer. Okay, but what if you didn't think of 8 in the very beginning? Okay, let's say you thought of 4. Okay, so let's say you thought about factoring a 4 first. So that's okay. You can start with a 4 if you want. So watch, if I start with a 4, right? 4 goes into 24 how many times? 6 times, and then a y, and then minus 4 goes into 40 how many times? 10. Right? So I would get a 4 and then 6y minus 10. Okay, but if you look here, I have a 6 and I have a 10. Right? Can't I factor something else out? The answer is yes. I can factor out a 2, can't I? So if I pull out a 2, I would get 4 times 2, and then that'll give us a 3y minus 5. And then, what is 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8. And then you just have times 3y minus 5, see? So you actually get the same exact answer. But you notice how you have to do an extra step, right? So you always want to factor out the largest number, all right? Which in this case is 8, right? 8 is the largest number you can factor out from 24 and 40. You can choose to use 4, but you're going to have to factor again, okay? But if you keep doing it at the end, you will get the same exact answer. But as you can see, it's always best to pull out the largest number, right? Okay, look at another example. Okay, let's look at this one. So for this one, same thing. We're gonna look at the numbers this time. Okay, so we have 15 and then we have 10. What number can go into both? 5. But this time, let's look at the variables as well. Okay, so I have an x to the 4 and I have an x to the 3rd. Right. The easiest way to do this, right, is to always factor out the smallest power. Okay, so we always factor out the smallest power. So between x to the 4 and x to the 3rd, right? Between x to the 4 and x to the 3rd, which one's the smaller power? X to the 3rd, right? So you want to factor out x to the 3rd now. Okay, so technically in this situation, the greatest common factor is 5x to the 3rd. So what happens if I factor out 5x to the 3rd? Remember, I'm factoring a 5 from the 15, I'm dividing, so it's like 15 divided by 5, which gives us 3. And I have a x to the 4 here, and I'm factoring out x cubed. I'm pulling 3 of them out. So how many are left? There's 1 x left, right? There's 4 over there. I pulled 1 of them out, so there's only 1 left. And then here I'm doing 10, right? This guy is 10 divided by 5, which is a positive 2, okay? And this guy, the 10 only has x cubed, and I'm pulling out x cubed, so I'm pulling all of them out. So that's why there's no more x's here, okay? That's how you factor that one. And again, if you wanted to check, you just got to distribute. 5x cubed times 3x is a 15x to the 4. 5x cubed times a positive 2 is a 10x cubed, right? So it works. Okay, let's look at the next one. So the next one, again, we're going to look at 30 and 24. What's the largest number that can go into 30 and 24? It's going to be 6. Okay, so I can pull out a 6. And now let's look at the variables, right? I have a y to the third, and I have a y. So which one's the smallest variable, smallest power variable I can take out? Y to the 1, right? That's the smallest one. So I'm going to take out a y to the 1. So if I pull out y to the 1, what's left? It's going to be 30 divided by 6, which is a 5. I'm pulling out y1. There's 3 y's here. How many are left? 2 of them are left. I'm pulling it, that's going to be negative 24. So think of that as negative 24 divided by 6. Negative 24 divided by 6 is a negative 4. And this guy only has 1 y, and I'm taking 1 y out, so there's no more left. Okay, and that's it. And again, if you distribute, you should get the same answer. You should get the answer from the beginning, the original question. Okay? All right, so maybe you want to pause the video now and try the rest of the problems on your own. Okay, and then, after you're done, you can come back and you can check your answers. But let's start. All right, let's look at 29.8. So again, we're going to look at 14 and 21. What number go into both? 7. Then we're going to look at x cubed and the x, smallest power. That's going to be x1. Then I'm going to look at y1 and x3. Which one? Sorry, y1 and y3. Which one's the smaller one? Smaller powered? y1. So that's why I'm going to pull out a 7xy. So I pull out 7xy, what happens here? It's going to be 7. It's going to be 14 divided by 7, which is going to give us a 2. And then I'm pulling out x1, and there's 3 of them here, so there's x2 left. All right, and then it's negative 21 divided by 7, which is a negative 3. Okay, it's going to be negative 3. And then there's 1x here. Okay, 1x here. I'm taking 1x out, so there's no more x's, right? And then I have y squared here, and I have a y1, so how many are left? There are 2 left. Okay. All right, so for the next one, we're going to look at 40 and 24. And you're going to ask yourself, well, what number goes into 40 and 24? Well, that would be 8. 8 goes into 40 and 24. Now we're going to look at the x's. We have x to the 4. We have x squared. Take out the smaller one. That's going to be x squared. And then we have y2. And we have y1. Take out the smaller one. That's y1. Okay. Now it's going to be 40 divided by 8, which is 5. We're taking out x squared from x4. That's going to be x squared. There's 2 left, right? There's 2 y's here. We're going to pull out one of them. There's only 1 y left. And then it's going to be 24 divided by 8, which is a positive 3. Okay, and then it's x squared. We're taking out x squared. No more x squares. And then it's 1y here. We're taking out 1y there. So no more y's. So that's it. That's your final answer. Those will make it a lot nicer. Okay. Let's look at the next one. All right, so same situation here. We're going to look at all the numbers. We have 28, we have negative 12, we have 20. What number can go into all of them? It looks like it's probably going to be 4. Okay, so let's take out a 4. Look at the x's now. You have x6, x4, and x2. Take out the smallest power, x2. There you go. Okay, so 28 divided by 4 is 7. And then we have x6 and then we're taking out x squared, so that becomes x to the 4. And then it's going to be a negative 3, right? Negative 3 because it's a negative 12 divided by positive 4, so it's a negative 3. And there's x4 here, and I'm going to take out x2, so there's 2 left, right? You have a positive 20 divided by a 4, that's a positive 5. And then x squared, and then x squared, no more, right? No more x squared. That's it. Okay, let's look at the next one. We have a 12, negative 18, negative 36. What's the largest one we can take out? It looks like we can take out 6. Okay, and let's look at the x's. We have a x squared, we have an x1, we have x squared. Which one can we take out? Smallest one, x1. Next, we have a y squared, y cubed, and a y1. What's the biggest one, or the smallest one you can take out? y1. Okay, so 12 divided by 6 is a 2. X squared over here, we're taking out 1x, there's only 1 left. Y2 over here, we're taking out 1y, there's 1y left. Negative 18 divided by 6 is a negative 3. There's 1x here, we're taking one of them out, no more x's. We have a y cubed over here, we're taking out a y1, so there's y squared left over. And then we have a negative 36 divided by 6, that's a negative 6. We have an x squared over here, we're taking out 1x, so there's only x left. And then we have y1, and then we have a y here, so no more y. And that's it. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, so if we look at these examples, you want to look at them like this. So think of this as one term, think of this as the other term. Okay, so you look at these two terms and you ask yourself, what's in common? Well, you'll see that x minus 7 is in common, right? They both have an x minus 7. What do? You pull out the x minus 7, and then what's left over? If you pull it out, so I pull out x minus 7 from here, I have a 7x left over, right? I pull out the x minus 7 from there, pull out the x minus 7 from there, so it's left over. You're left with 7x and then minus 3. And that's it. That's how you factor it. Okay, so we look at the next one again. Think of this term as 1 and this one as 1. What's in common here? X plus 2 is in common. X plus 2y is in common, right? So if you pull out x plus 2y from there, you're going to end up with a 5a and then minus b. Right? When you factor it out, think of them as pulling them out, they're gone. So what's left? Just 5a minus b. That's what's left over. Okay. So same thing here. Look at this and look at this. What's in common? X minus 3. So if I take out x minus 3 from here, take out x minus 3 from there, what's left? I am left with a 2x, and what's the number in the front over here? Imaginary 1, right? There's an imaginary 1 here. So that's like 2x plus 1. Okay, that's how you factor that one. Okay, the next one, same thing. Think of this as one term, think of this as the second term. What's in common? 2x plus 7. So what's left over? 3x, and then there's an imaginary 1 here, right? That's 3x minus 1. All right. And that's it. Okay, so as always, if you got lost anywhere, replay the video, pause it where you need to. And if you have any questions, post on the discussion forum. I'll see you next time.